Welcome back to the Michigan Sports Media Network, and today we have something very, very special for you. We have, first of all, we are live, baby. Number one, first live show in the history of Michigan Sports Media Network, and we're just gearing up because, as we all know, Thursday is draft day, and we will be live yet again on draft night, starting at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But enough of that. Today, we are doing a mock draft, our final mock draft of the year, our predictive mock draft. So this is what we think is going to happen. I think we all, can agree for the most part on these. Pretty much, it's getting kind of crazy, but things are going to get crazy as the draft goes. So bear with us here, guys. All these predictions will not come true. I can tell you that. That's a prediction that will come true, is that these will not come true. So bear with us here, but let's have some fun. So with that being said, the Tennessee Titans are now on the clock to get this show on the road. And I'm not going to waste any time. Like I said before, we're not doing any trades. So with that being said, there's really nowhere else they can go here other than Cam Ward, in my opinion. It feels pretty obvious here. So we are going to go ahead and select Cam Ward with the number 1 overall selection. It's just one of those things. They need a quarterback. He's the best one available. Do I love him personally? No, not really. But I can see why they take him number 1 overall. But with that being said, the Cleveland Browns are now on the clock with the 2nd overall pick. Let's see what Cleveland does.
As opposed to the other drafts, as you said, this is the predictive mock. So all reports are leaning towards, heavily in favor, I should say, not even just a lean. Travis Hunter, wide receiver, corner, Colorado. And that is my pick.
Yeah, for sure. Travis Hunter is definitely the almost pretty much a lock now at 2, which I totally understand. Who was it? Andrew Berry, I believe, the Browns GM. He literally called him. The exact term is escaping me, but he basically called him Superman. Like, he was like, this guy. Oh, he called him Shohei Ohtani. That's what it was. He said this kid is Shohei Ohtani. Okay, and I think that tells us all that he's getting drafted with the 2nd overall pick. So, with that being said, the New York Giants are now on the clock.
Well, hey, New York Giants. Hey, before we go to the pick, I just want to put a little thing out there. You can see this. These are the best fucking cookies I've ever fucking eaten. And I don't have anybody selling fucking Girl Scout shit, so I'm not promoting it. But the adventure, what the fuck they call it? The Adventurefuls? Fucking get them. Seriously, it's a mouth orgasmic experience. Can't believe I just fucking said that. All right. So, cookies are good, though. Can't fucking believe I just said that. Hi, National. All right. Anyways, Giants. Abdul Carter. Beast out of Penn State. Good luck. Thibodeau and Carter. Have fun. Have fun, Jalen Hurts. Have fun.
Yeah, and, Brian Burns as well. So they got 3 really good pass rushers now. And I will say, that was very Giants of you to be sidetracked by food as the draft is going on. Just saying. So, now, the New England Patriots are on the clock, and, it does feel like they're going to go one way with this selection. It does seem as though Will Campbell is pretty much a lock here. So that's going to be my pick. It feels like these first 4, are pretty much good to go. I will say I would not be surprised if they took Gianti or Membao instead. Just saying that now. I could see both of those, but Will Campbell is my current prediction. With that being said, the Jacksonville Jaguars are now on the clock.
I think the first 6 picks between the rumors and everything else are pretty much a lock as is. With 5, Jacksonville will select Mason Graham, D lineman, Michigan.
Yeah, and like you said, it's pretty much a lock. Now, I will say there have been rumors very recently in the last day or 2 that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to select Armand Membao, offensive tackle. I could see it. Trevor Lawrence needs some help. That offensive line is not that great. And it does seem like, and you guys might agree, seems like everybody's kind of cooled off on Mason Graham a little bit recently. Seems like he's lost a little bit of his draft stock in the last few weeks. And maybe that's nothing. Maybe that's just, Twitter getting bored of a player. Or it could mean that the NFL is doing the same. So Mason Graham is the pick at 5 for us. With that being said, I almost said Oakland. The Las Vegas Raiders are now on the clock.
The Raiders. Hey, before we pick, back to Membo, I think I'm going to go on record. I think he's by far the best tackle in this draft. I think here's your blue chip guys: Hunter, Carter, Gianti, Membo. Membo is a blue chipper. Mark my words. This guy is amazing. Okay? So, before that, though, the Raiders at 6. They select Ashton Gianti, running back, Boise.
Yeah, and that feels like another one of those locks that we talked about. And again, similar to the Jaguars right now, there are some rumors flying that they might take Membow if he's there instead of Gianti. So there is a potential that Gianti falls to the Bears, which that would be kind of crazy. But with that being said, the Jets are now on the clock, and I'm going to take the guy we just mentioned for the last 3 picks in a row, Mr. Armand Membow, the tackle from Missouri. This feels like the most obvious pick if he's here. I mean, I don't really see a way that they don't draft him personally. Like you mentioned, Brad, best tackle in the draft, picking him at 7. That's pretty much the biggest need that they have right now, in my opinion. They could use some help elsewhere too, but their O-line was pretty putrid last year. So they pick up their tackle of the future, and the Carolina Panthers are now on the clock.
Oh, much like my pick yesterday, the picks have grown on me, and when I was doing all my research for needs, it is probably the biggest need, and talent on the board beats need. I will take Jalen Walker, edge, Georgia.
All right, yeah, and that's, among those where it does seem as though he's pretty close to a lock there. I would be pretty surprised, I think, if they go elsewhere. I could see them maybe going receiver with like a Tet McMillan, but outside of that, I just don't see them passing up Walker. So solid pick there. And now the Saints are on the clock.
Well, as we've talked for the last couple drafts and talk about it now, the Saints need everything. I mean, literally everything at any position. It would be an upgrade, honestly. I was looking, and we talked about it before on air. I was looking at the grades for corners, and there's 8 corners that are draft or that are 6.3 or above. Then it drops from a 6.3 down to a 6.2. So there's 8 corners here. So I think they're gonna go early. I think they're gonna go often because, like I said, drop off in talent. Having said that, gonna go with Jade Brown, corner, University of Texas, best corner in the draft, outside of Travis Hunter.
Well, damn it. I accidentally clicked Shador Sanders now. No, with that said,
It could happen.
It could happen for sure, but I do like that pick as well. I am not the highest on Barron personally. I do like Will Johnson a little bit more, but I can see why you might like Barron a little bit more. So the Bears are on the clock, and man, this is somewhat of a tough pick. Gianti's off the board, which is like the clear pick here if he's available. There's really 2 players, though, in my opinion, that I'm looking at, and I know a lot of people are talking about Tyler Warren here. I just don't see it. 10 feels too early for a tight end, and I know he's really good, but they already have one, and they have other needs. Right now, I'm thinking Kelvin Banks or Shamar Stewart, personally. I would go Shamar Stewart myself, but a lot of reports are saying Banks, guys. A lot of reports are saying Banks. However, we're going Shamar Stewart. I do think that's going to be the pick at the end of the day. I do believe that they did a good enough job this offseason to add to that offensive line. They got 2 first or second round picks at both tackle spots. So I think they see what they got. I think Ben Johnson did a good job at building. Well, he didn't, but they did a good job at building their interior offensive line, and they'll kind of figure out their tackles later. But I think Shamar Stewart is a little bit too good to pass up here, even for a very good tackle. So with that being said, the San Francisco 49ers are now on the clock.
The San Francisco 49ers are very relieved because we will take Calvin Banks, tackle Texas. If you took them one pick ahead of me, I honestly would panic at and scramble for my pick here.
Yeah, and that's very valid. Josh Simmons is really the only guy left that would be
Yeah.
worth that pick, and that's a little high for him right now with his injury. So Calvin Banks to the Niners does feel like a lock. It feels like one of those where if he makes it, they're going to be sprinting up to the podium. So if you're watching this, it's because you love sports. If you love sports, why not show that love with some new gear, like the two jerseys behind me? Fanatics has a lot of stuff on sale right now, and if you go down in the description, click the link of whatever team that you want, it'll take you to the Fanatics page, buy some stuff, and we get a small portion. It'll help us out, and you'll get some discounts on some good gear. Solid pick there. Now the Cowboys are on the clock, and they could go a lot of different places with this.
Yeah, they definitely could. I mean, honestly, people aren't going to want to hear this in Cowboy land, but I think the Cowboys should just hit the reboot button because they just spin their wheels every damn year. And I think Dak Prescott is by far the most overrated quarterback in the last 15 years in the NFL. That goes with talent and that goes with his contract. Overrated. But that's just my opinion. So, got to get this bum some help. So the Cowboys are going to take Matthew Golden, receiver, Texas.
Yeah, I like that. And that definitely seems to be one of the biggest or one of the most mocked players to them. So totally understand that pick. Now, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and I'm facing a similar dilemma that I did with my most recent pick because we have two good players on the board here that I think make a lot of sense for them. We have Josh Simmons, the tackle from Ohio State, and we have Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. As we know, they're trying to trade Jalen Ramsey, so getting another number one corner who might be the number one corner in the draft at 13 would be a hell of a pick. However, they do need a tackle. Their starting left tackle, Teron Armstead, just retired. So Josh Simmons could make a ton of sense here, and I could totally see them reaching. I don't think it's a reach necessarily. I do really like Simmons, but I do think Will Johnson is a better player. So we're going to go Will Johnson here. I just think that there's potential to get a starter level tackle later, whereas I don't see a corner of Will Johnson's stature being available. So with that being said, the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock.
Every report, even unless you've been living under a rock, says Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, will be the pick here. And since this is the predictive mock, even though I personally do not agree with it, I will go with it. And that will be my predictive pick for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and this feels, similar to what we've talked about before, where if he's there, they're going to take him, I think. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to pass on him. Getting AR some more pass catchers would be a really big help for him. And I could see them going McMillan, but I just feel like, I hate to say this, but they have a similar guy in Alec Pierce. I know he's not as good, but I would rather take a bit more of a weapon. He can block, he can run, he can catch, he can do a little bit more of everything. So with that being said, the Atlanta Falcons are now on the clock.
Alrighty, well, Falcons could definitely use some help on D. Really anywhere you want to go on that, in the position wise. I think they're real tempted to take a guy with some kind of a checky character issue right there. But they got to replace Grady Jarrett. I think they're going to go Kenneth Grant, D tackle Michigan.
Okay. That is definitely higher than I've seen him mocked, so that's a bit of a surprise. But I could see it somewhat. I will say thank you for doing that because the Cardinals are sprinting. They're Usain Bolting up to the podium to select Mr. Michael Williams, the defensive end out of Georgia. I know you guys thought I was going to say Walter Nolan. I know you did, but it's going to be Michael Williams. He fits a little bit better of what they need right now. His size, he can play inside and outside. I do love Walter Nolan. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan, but I just think Michael Williams fits a little bit better for Arizona right now. And I also think he is predicted to go a bit higher in the draft than 16 right now. So this would be a bit of a steal. With that said, the Bengals are now on the clock.
It's interesting how this board fell because this is our third mock together, and this is the first time I believe this player's been on the board for me. With the 17th pick and with the way this board looks, the Cincinnati Bengals will select Mike Green, edge Marshall. I believe with Trey Hendrickson getting older and demanding a new contract, which they quite haven't figured out yet, they would either trade him, which they need an edge, or he's in his 30s, so they're going to need an edge in the near-ish future anyways. And right here, talent just is there. It falls. He does have some off-the-field issues, but for the reasons I just said, that's my pick, my prediction.
Yeah, and that's a very good pick. The Bengals would definitely be very happy if Mike Green was there. Now, Seattle is on the clock, but this guy, there's one guy I'm looking at right here, and I think me and Brad might be looking at the same name because he's never even made it this far in a mock we've done yet. Just saying. The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Oh, man. Maybe we're not, but I really think they're going to take I really do. They're going to take a hard look at Ibuka. I really do. And I really was going to go that way. But the way the board is falling now, I see them going Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Swiss Army hybrid, came in as an edge. Little undersized, but can get to the quarterback, and he can roam sideline to sideline. Good sturdy tackler. So I am going to go there with that.
I actually like that pick a lot. I think him and Devin Witherspoon will rain hell on the run game and contribute nicely.
Yeah, I like the pick. It's just not. I mean, we've done 4 mocks, and he's always there, and he's never picked by them, which I find odd. And I've also never seen him mocked there, so that's something we'll see if that happens on draft night. I wouldn't be that surprised, but it wouldn't be on Michael Penix's territory by any means, but I'd be a little surprised.
Every
Especially
draft,
with,
every draft. Let's remember that it's a pick that comes out of maybe not nowhere, but it's like, guy didn't come in for a visit. Which, by the way, the Lions are famous for that. But hey, you know what? Didn't have him anywhere. There he is. So it's one thing that these guys see. They're not going to show their hand. And like I said, I think that defense are just going to keep racking it up, and they got to take time. They're going to want to run the ball in Seattle because Sam Darnold sucks, but he's just going to be an anchor. He's just going to be an anchor in the defense. He's going to be their Bobby Wagner. So.
No, I get it totally, and honestly, it's like it kind of screws my Bucks pick because Jahad Campbell is always there. So I'm sitting here like I don't know who they'd pick. I honestly don't.
Curveball.
I'm thinking Tet McMillan would make some sense. Eamon Worry would make some sense.
I can chime in my 2
would make
cents
some
if you
sense.
want.
What do you think?
I would say McMillan personally because Godwin, I know he just signed a new contract, but he's getting up there in age. He's always beat up. And Evans is not really a young guy either.
Yeah, I just don't see it, man. Honestly, like that's the one that I think is the best player, but I don't think they'd take him because right now with where they're at, they're trying to win and they need help on defense, and that's.
I
the
think
thing,
you could
like,
go a killer defender right here to pair with what they already fucking got in the middle. Vita
I
Vea is the most
know,
underrated.
I know.
He is so underrated. If
Oh,
he
I
played
didn't.
somewhere other than Tampa, this dude would be on cereal boxes, on billboards, on buildings. So,
I know, and
You
that
know
was my
me.
first thought was Walter Nolan. I was thinking about it, and
Yeah, him
that's
and
probably
Vito.
where I'm going to go.
yeah. Hello,
Because
Philly.
yeah, They're
Him and
going to be
Vita
pretty
Vea
damn good.
kind of reminds me of when the Lions had like Sue and Fairley. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I can
Walter
see.
Nolan is a Buccaneer. Denver Broncos are now on the clock.
Okay, well, he fell into our laps. I've always been mocking a receiver to Denver. I know they need help elsewhere, but I don't see. This is the predictive one. Um, okay, well, because it's the predictive one, I will go with Murray and Hampton, running back from North Carolina. Uh,
Ooh.
James would do something else, but I had to remember that
So,
this is the predictive one, and he's been linked there all the time.
right, but do remember that's without Ted McMillan being on the board.
Yeah, McMillan was going
So
to be
it
the obvious
changes a
pick for
lot.
me, but
Yeah. I would say that would be the pick because look, there hasn't been a mock that I have seen where Ted McMillan falls to Denver and they pick Omari and Hampton. I have
yeah,
not seen that yet.
You
So
could have
I
gone. You
feel
could have gone
because
safety. Could have gone safety with Sertain back there, man.
right, you could go safety as well. But I do believe McMillan would probably be the pick here, but if you want to do Omari and Hampton, just because I do understand where you're coming from, like that is the most picked one, but usually McMillan is picked way before here, so it kind of throws a wrench into
yeah. I
it
was gonna
there.
say, I'm like, if this was like the whole I'm the GM, it's McMillan without a doubt. Um,
I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, once it gets to this point, that's kind of where we're at, right? Because you can only predict so much, especially when curveballs are thrown at you. So it's like,
yeah,
so it's
Kenneth
Let
like,
it
Grant.
go, dude. They got their Bobby Wagner.
uh,
All right, it's not like I lose a limb if I'm wrong here. Let's go Tate McMillan.
Oh,
It's
geez, dude. I bet you used to have your lunch money stolen too. You got bullied out of the pick you wanted.
That's not who I. No,
no,
I don't want. I do not want a murder in Hampton.
Okay.
I think Denver wants him. I would take McMillan or Loveland here if I was the GM.
Okay.
yeah, I personally don't see them taking Hampton. I know he's mocked there a lot, but I don't see another running back going first round other than Ashton Gianti, just with how deep this running back class is. Call me fucking crazy, guys. I don't see that big of a difference in Omarion Hampton versus Quinshad Judkins or a
I
Travion
was
Henderson.
just gonna say that.
I mean,
Just gonna say that.
I really don't see it. Like I think they're all really good players, but I'm not taking one in the first round when I could get the other one
No.
mid second.
No.
So, but with that being said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are now on the clock.
I said it yesterday, and I mean Andy Reid's Andy Reid. Don't get me wrong, but I think Tomlinson. I mean, come on, man. Mike Tomlin, come on, man. It'd be hard pressed to find a better coach in the NFL because this roster that he's got right now, you go anywhere. You go anywhere. Okay. I mean, shit. I don't even know who. I mean, who's their quarterback? Oh, that's right, Mason Rudolph. So, with that pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Colorado Hall of Fame quarterback Shadur Sanders.
There we go. See, and that's the thing. We haven't had that happen yet, so I
Nope.
didn't think it was gonna. So I'm happy that that happened because I do believe if Shador is there at 21, he's the pick. I mean, I just think it makes the most sense. And like you said, they got a really good team over there. They just
Yep.
really need a quarterback, especially after trading for DK Metcalf. So I think if Shador's sitting there at 21, they are pissing their pants to get this damn thing turned in because
And I
they
think he
remember
will
what
be.
it looked like with
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he will be.
Um, so with that being said, the Chargers are now on the clock, and I this is one of the easiest picks in the whole fucking draft, boys.
No,
It's always Colston Loveland. It is always Colston Loveland. I don't know
Where did
what's
he go?
going
Hey,
on with
where
my
did he go to
computer, but
college at? Where did Loveland go to college at? I forgot.
Michigan
Oh,
Michigan.
that's right. That's right.
with Mr. Harbaugh. So I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. I think we've talked about that one enough. The Green Bay Packers are now on the clock.
This one I think I've had in every mock. It makes sense. The talent, the need, everything. Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia.
Hmm.
Malachi. You guys
And I'll
ever
tell
see
you what.
Children of the Corn?
Yes, I
Oh
have.
yeah.
Malachi. Malachi. Sorry.
And I'll tell you what, that's one of the biggest steals of the draft because Starks is a top 15 talent, but because he plays safety, he's going to fall a little bit. Really like the pick, and like you said, this has literally been the pick in every single mock. And I mean, why wouldn't it be? It just makes so much sense, especially
Makes
when they're
sense.
probably going to get rid of Jair Alexander. So, with that being said, the Minnesota Vikings are now on the clock.
You know, some pretty darn good corners are off the board here. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go with another need in the backfield, defensive backfield, and we're going to have a little run on the safeties here. I'm going to go Nick Emirwari, safety, South Carolina.
Really like that pick, and I'm really glad you did it because the Texans are very, very happy right now. Not because it's a bad pick, but because
Oh,
I thought you
yeah.
were going to take the guy I want. And I was definitely sweating about it.
Could have done
No,
it. Could have done it, but nah.
yeah. And Nick Emanwari is a hell of a player, and they definitely need some help in that defensive backfield.
Yeah.
He can kind of play all over the defense, too, so I really like that pick. But with that being said, the Texans, right, are going to take Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. This to me is a match made in heaven for them. They desperately need a tackle after trading away Taylor. Or, why am I Laramie Tunsil? I almost said Taylor Lewan. Who am I? Fucking Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah, that's been a while. He's a dick
Yeah,
too, by
man.
the way.
Yeah, watching fucking Bussin' with the Boys yesterday must have fucked with my brain a little bit. Um, but Josh Simmons is probably, I won't say is, but would be the best tackle in the draft if he did not get injured. So the Texans are so happy to turn this card in because now they have their left tackle of the future. And now the Rams are on the clock.
The Rams, to continue with the trend of new picks and teams that we have not had before because of the way the board fell, I'm going to have the Rams select Maxwell Hairston, cornerback, Kentucky.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I'm a big Maxwell fan. I will say this corner draft is a little odd because we don't see many first round corners in mock drafts or even in our mock drafts, but I got a feeling there's going to be like four.
There's only
I
8
feel
good
like,
ones. Yeah.
well, and that's the thing is I feel like it's going to be there's three first rounders I think that are maybe well two are obvious and one is Harrison who's I feel kind of obvious. He won't make it past Buffalo, I don't think. And then there's two more though. There's Trey Amos and the Thomas kid from Florida State that I think could sneak their way into the first round if a team in the back end likes them, which I mean the Eagles, they could use some corner help. The Chiefs could use some corner help. The Bills need a corner. So I could see it. But with that being said, I like the pick there for the Rams. Like we talked about before, um, the Dolphins are trading Jalen Ramsey, and I actually saw a report today that the Rams might be interested. So if they can bring in Jalen Ramsey, draft Maxwell Harrison, their corner room's good to go next year. So really good pick. And with that being said, the Ravens are now on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, just to repeat it again, man, get your corners while you can because you ain't going to have them after 8. Ramsey going to the Rams, I mean, he's played there, so they're definitely familiar with him. So that's probably the best place he can go, because for a lot of reasons. But that probably is. We had discussions before about him. I like that. Well, I don't like it, but I like them getting him there. All right, so we got Baltimore on the clock. I think Baltimore's kind of sick of watching Mahomes just step up in that pocket and kill them every fucking time or get to that sideline. He likes to get to the sideline, doesn't he? He loves that sideline. Plus, he'll do a little LeBron when he gets to that sideline. Great acting job. So you know what? If he gets to that sideline, he's going to get murdered. Okay, he's going to get murdered by James Pierce Jr., defensive end, Tennessee.
Yeah, really like that pick, and I think that's another one that seems like always is this pick with the Ravens. I mean, in most mock drafts, even not even just ours, but all of our mocks, I think James Pierce has gone there. So Oh no, the last one we did, he went to the Eagles, I think, with the last
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah, I
So,
took him.
but makes a lot of sense. Now the Lions are on the clock, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on this one
Yep.
simply because it's our boys. I mean, come on, we have to.
Don't mess this
And
up, Chase.
actually, look, man, I'm gonna fuck it up so bad because I'm a dumbass with a microphone, and that's all. Okay, I don't get paid for this. I just like to talk for no reason. So now the thing is, there's a couple guys that I could see them picking, and there's really two I think right here: Derek Harmon and Donovan Izuruku. I know I'm fucking that name up. I have not heard it enough to be able to pronounce
Just
it
call him
correctly.
Donnie E. Just call him Donnie E.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, and I like to call him Easy
That's better too.
because
Easy
yeah,
works.
yeah. So Easy and Derek Harmon, right? And I think last time I went Derek Harmon over James Pierce, but that was just because of the off-field concerns. I just think, man, call me crazy. I really, really like Donovan Easy. I just like him. He's a good player. I feel like call me crazy, man, but I do think he's one of the best pass rushers in this draft.
You
I
rank
just do.
16 and a half sacks and a pretty decent ACC with Cam Ward in it. Yeah. Yeah. He's pretty damn good. In fact, yeah.
There goes Brad with another giant moment.
I'm done with parallels there. Oh, God. I'm never going to live that one
I'm
down.
so
Holy
glad
shit.
right now I cannot see you guys.
Lucky you, James.
Yeah.
No, but Donovan Easy, I just love him. He's a great player. He's obviously a pass rush specialist. He is a little undersized, but I think he's exactly what the Lions are looking for as they move to their new scheme, which is going to be more of a 3-4 type. I think he'd be perfect across from Aiden Hutchinson. So personally, I think this is a great pick. I think this is another one of those where if he's there, we're taking him. I don't really know who we'd take over him at this moment in time in the draft. So that's the pick. Now, Brad, we'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on this, other than what we already know?
Well, one of those emojis of that eggplant comes in handy there when I retweet this after they draft him. They're going to say about 90 eggplants. That's my guy, obviously. It is. It's my guy. Love Harmon. I think Harmon would go next. So I'd say Easy Harmon, and I personally think if some things go that way, they would either if Edwards from Ohio State is available, or if or Jackson. I did it again. Donovan Jackson from Ohio State's available. Remember now, when Simmons went down, he played left tackle and he was amazing. So look what you got there. Again, we talked about it. I don't think Taylor Decker is going to be on this team next year. I really don't. So there's a guy right there. And we know that Brad Holmes he's not myopic. He says, look at this guy. We put him on the shelf for about 5 or 6 weeks. Then we get him back and holy smokes. But so I'm just going to go Easy Harmon and then Donovan. So.
Yeah, and that's good points, Brad. What about you, James? What are your thoughts about Easy in the first round to Detroit?
I don't mind it. He is a good player. He would be a pick where if he was announced, it depends on how the board falls. If this is the board, I'm not going to lie, I would be a little upset because I do have one of my favorite players in the entire draft still here, and it's not as big of a need um, potentially today, but I personally would take Tyler Booker here, the guard from Alabama. I am obsessed with the dude. I think putting him between Sewell and Ragnow will give us the best O-line in the league. Young, cheap, can replace Zeitler that way. Um, but and that's what I would do. But going back to Easy, I mean, like you guys said, he had 16 and a half sacks in the ACC. he's not a bad player at all. He is, I'm glad you brought up the point of switching to more of a 3-4. And I want to add, since I know we're live, uh, when we say more of a 3-4, it does not mean a 3-4 base defense. Last time I said that on X, people like blew me up thinking like, oh, we're changing our whole defense. No, we're just not going to be so based in 4-3 as much.
Yeah.
We're going to have a hybrid kind of defense.
Wow, you mean
Easy would
you
be,
can give different looks? You can give different looks in the NFL on defense and not have to be pigeonholed? Really? Really?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. When I remember when we said in one of the podcasts and then I commented underneath about it. And I'm just like, we'll be more of a 3-4. And people would be like, well, how are we gonna, defend 4th and 1 on the 3-4? I'm like, why would we do that? What?
Or not.
Like,
Most people use
well,
3-4 as their fucking jumbo anyway. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
so
I mean, shit, a nose tackle. I don't know if you've ever heard of a fucking nose tackle, but
yeah,
that's their job. And
Yeah.
what do they play in? A 3-4.
Yeah. Loli Nagata.
Mind
Loli
blowing.
Nagata played pretty well for for us and more importantly Baltimore in that 3-4.
yes,
Well,
absolutely.
and also just to add on what you're saying, James, what we mean, right, is when we say more of a 3-4, at least when I say this is what I mean. I don't want to put words in your mouth necessarily, but when I say more of a 3-4, I just mean more over, under, that kind of stuff. Yes, we've always been a 4-3 over under type of team, but now it will just mean we look for a different style of player just a little bit at certain positions. Okay, that's all really I'm saying. Our defense is going to be similar, pretty much the same. It's just we're going to ask a little bit different stuff here and there out of our guys and use them in different shades. That's pretty much it.
I mean, run a goddamn twist one time, just put Hutch out in the flats. How many touchdowns did he have, or how many interceptions did he have his first year?
Three.
I mean,
Three.
I just, yeah.
Yeah. And easy would be that Brad Holmes kind of defender because I don't quite want to say I've noticed a pattern, but versatility is obviously something everyone is into. I feel like Brad Holmes likes it more than some others. And it's kind of like Brian Branch, where he could be nickel, he could be safety. You might not want him at outside corner, but in a pinch he could get by. Hell, he can come in the box and act like a linebacker, depending on the situation. And I feel like Easy can do that edge linebacker kind of multiple position format.
Best ability is
Yeah,
availability.
yeah, for sure. And the reason I didn't take Harmon here, James, I do love him. He's a good player. The way I look at it is, I think we can get a player closer to Harmon's level in the second round at defensive tackle than we can at Easy's level in the second round at edge. That's pretty much the only reason. Because I do love Harmon as well.
Yeah, there's no edges out there that's worthy of. I mean, they're
I
done.
agree with
I mean, after
I
Nick
agree with what
Thornton, they're done.
I agree, but I'm curious on your comments or your thoughts about Tyler Booker's potential.
I wouldn't do it at all. I don't think. I do like him as a player, but I just don't see it as a big enough need on a Super Bowl team to take our first round pick and use it on him, because I do believe, similar to, like I said, with Derek Harmon too, I think we can get a guy in the second or third round that can play the Tyler Booker role, maybe not as well as he will, maybe not right away, but that way I just don't like putting all the capital into the O-line when we have starter level players all across the board right now, and we could get one in the third. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And I do love the player. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the player, but that's the thought process behind it there.
I can get
I don't
behind
think our
that.
starting guards are reliable. I don't think they're reliable right now because you haven't seen a whole sample size of Mahogany one game against a shit Bears team. In Glasgow, I think we could pretty much say he's on his last legs. And he was horrible last year. That's just my opinion. I think the guards are highly, highly suspect. But
So, like I've said before on this show, would you rather, okay, go into next season with Marcus fucking Davenport or Graham Glasgow?
Davenport.
That's crazy. That is insane. That's an insane thought. Just being honest. Because look, Davenport's a solid dude, but the motherfucker has not played more than a couple games in the last
Oh,
3 years.
that I agree with.
And and I will say a lot of I think Glasgow's issues, like we've talked about before, is because he played a different position. And I do believe that regardless of what happens, I think Glasgow is a more consistent player than Marcus Davenport is at their respective positions. And I also believe that if we add, so think about it this way, right? If we add a all pro, all NFL, everything guard, are we going to win a Super Bowl for sure?
Yes.
No. No, we're not. If we add an all pro stud edge player, probably going to win a Super Bowl. You see what I'm saying? That to me makes more sense. He moves the needle more. He's at a more valuable position. I would even draft Derek Harmon before I drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, just because of the pure fact of need, value, and depth at the position in the draft. I do think we can get a guard in the second or third round that will be a starter level player, maybe his rookie year, if not by year 2. And guys, don't forget about Manu, please. Let's not pretend like he doesn't exist. We've talked about him many times on the show. So I do think Manu could have a real potential in the next year or two.
Let me just throw this out. And it's nothing that I'm pounding the table for, far from it. But you talk about if you want to go on Marcus Davenport and Tyler Booker. Let me ask you this. Would you rather go in with Landon Jackson and Tyler Booker?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. I don't like Landon Jackson personally. He's a decent player, but I don't see he doesn't move the needle, for me really. So it's like that, and I'm glad you asked that, Brad, because that's literally exactly why I took who I took, because I like let me just look at the list here. I like Jonas Savanea, I like Mao, I like Jackson, I like Ratledge, I like Jared Wilson or Fairchild even later. I mean, this is not Miles Frazier's a solid player later. Emory Jones, Logan Brown, Jackson Slater, Jalen Rivers I'm a fan of. So you see what I'm saying. And those last few guys are like 6th round picks that, don't get me wrong, they're not going to start year 1, but they could be a mahogany and sit for most of the year and play sometimes. And I just don't see that in the edge position as well later.
What about JT Tamalua and Booker?
That I could maybe think about, and that's the thing. I'm a real big fan of JT, and the only reason I don't do that is because I'm not confident he's there in the second round for us.
No,
That's about it, though. I really do like him, though, and I think that would be worth it if we could definitely get him. So with that being said, we will now move on. The Washington Commanders are now on the clock.
All right, once again, with the predictive portion, Washington has added several playmakers to their offense this offseason, like Deebo Samuel. They traded for a brand new left tackle. I think they are going to continue adding to their offense, and I'm going to go with Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina.
Wow.
Eckler does get hurt.
Eckler gets hurt.
No, I
getting
get
up
it.
there in age.
I get it for sure.
And it's
I'm just
different
surprised.
from other mocks because, like, when we did the other mocks, I was in charge. And it was who I wanted. But I'm like, I think this makes sense, and it continues with the theme of what they were doing all offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't hate it. I don't know if I've seen it mocked before, but, it makes sense. I thought you were going to go Derek Harmon because they lost their 2 defensive tackles, but this does make some sense. And I definitely don't hate it. And that's the thing is, like I said, I haven't seen this on any mocks before, but it does make some sense, man. I can't argue with that.
So with that, too.
That's the other thing I was thinking too. Is this is just such a, like we said before, man, this is just such a deep running back class. I personally would find it very hard if it's not Ashton Genty to take him in the first round. it's just such a deep class because there's guys like RJ Harvey that you could get in the fourth or fifth round that are gonna be damn good pros. So with that being said, the Bills are now on the clock.
All right, well, the Bills could go any. I mean, with what's been taken off, I think the Bills could honestly go, quite frankly, anywhere they wanted. Obviously, except for quarterback. Did you guys see too that? Not I'm not going running back. Did you see that Dalvin Cook didn't? Or not him.
James Cook.
James Cook. Sorry, James Cook. Did you see that he didn't report today for OTAs because there's some? They're trying to iron out a contract.
Yeah, he wants a
Trying
new
to.
contract.
Yeah,
I saw
I
something
found that.
earlier. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I saw something earlier this all season that he wanted to be, I think it was top five, top three paid in the league. He wanted that like
He said he wanted
McCaffrey.
16 million a year.
There you go. See, okay. And I'm just like,
Crazy
he's
numbers
good.
for
He's
that.
not that good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I mean pass the bong to him because he's fucking high.
Hey,
He's
he
just
missed
fucking
he
high.
missed it. That was a couple days ago, man.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
going left. We're going left this time. You know, this is honestly a hard pick for me. Derek Harmon available. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Derek Harmon. They need D line help, and they are ecstatic that he's there, so they go with him.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised you didn't go Luther Burden, but I do totally get Derek Harmon. I do believe personally that Derek Harmon is a little bit better player for his position, so I totally understand going that way.
Yeah.
Now, the Chiefs are now on the clock, and baby, are we happy? Because we got Gray Zabel, Tyler Booker, and we got Donovan Jackson on the board. That has never happened before for the Chiefs in our mock drafts. So I'm having trouble on picking one, to be honest with you. I don't know if they would want Tyler Booker or Gray Zabel or Donovan Jackson more right now. The only thing is, I think they need a tackle a little bit more than they do a guard. They do need a guard, though. So, with that being said, we are going to go with Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama. And here's why I go with Tyler Booker. Because their other guard, I don't know, I'm blanking on his name right now. Their other guard just got franchise tagged, right? And he reminds me a lot of Tyler Booker, okay? They have similar games. I believe that this pick not only shores up their O-line for next season, but it gives them the option to move on from that guy after this year, okay? And that's really why I picked Booker, because I do like Zabel, I do like Jackson. I just think he's the better player. So we're going to go with Booker. And finally, to end this mock, we have the Philadelphia Eagles on the clock.
All the players I normally took as Philly are off the board. So I'm going to have to do a slight scramble, but I'm not going to take too long because I think Philly, like most good teams, just takes the best player available. And over time, taking the best player available, you fill your holes. Slash you don't have any. So right now I am stuck between a slightly outside the box Darius Alexander, because they always like having beefy D line, and then Greg Zabel just based on talent. And I know he's playing guard, but I wonder with I know they've had 1 year since Kelsey retired, but they're still filling those holes on the O line as well.
Abel can play up and down the line wherever you want.
Yeah, and they do value the versatility. So I'm going to go Gray Zabel, North Dakota State.
All right.
You know,
And I
Lane
will be
Johnson.
honest.
Yeah, Lane Johnson's getting up there too.
Yeah, he is. I'll be honest. I'm a little surprised by the pick. I think, okay, maybe I'm not surprised by your pick necessarily, but I might have gone Luther Burden there. And here's why, okay? Because A.J. Brown, right, he ain't getting any younger, right? You just had to pay him. You got Devontae Smith. He just got paid as well.
Yeah.
If you draft Burden, you can potentially move on from A.J. Brown. And I think that would make a lot of sense for the Eagles right now with the cap, because it's a similar issue that the Lions have, with when we talk about trading J-Mo. It's like, do we want to? No, not really. But when you're in this position, cap-wise, he's making like, 35, 40 million a year or something like that. I could see him trading him away in drafting a guy. So just my 2 cents there. I do like the pick, though. I think it's a steal. I was going to be very surprised if he didn't get picked in the first round as someone who genuinely or generally gets picked in the top 20 in our mock draft. So
Yeah,
with
but
that
damn,
being said,
I mean, AJ Brown. I mean, he is literally the best reader in the NFL. I mean, you're getting a hell of a wideout. You're also getting one hell of a reader. You know what I mean? I mean, he can read. I mean, he can read to the team at halftime. For Christ's sake, I mean, this guy can flat out read.
hey,
Christ.
that's valid, but I'll tell you what, in Philly, they don't give a fuck.
Hey, Philly can't even spell, let alone read. Philly fans.
Right, they can't even spell Philadelphia. Fucking ask them.
No.
They got
the
four
fucking
A's
one,
in
the
that
mayor. Yeah, EGLES.
type shit. Oh, but yeah. So, again, appreciate you guys for being here. As always, this was a lot of fun. Our first live show went pretty well, I would say. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching. You know what to do. You can find us at MI Sports Media on Twitter, misportsmedia.com for all of our articles and news and such. You can find Brad at BT8Ball, James at Gullet_James, and myself at JSoSweet. And with that being said, we appreciate you for being here, and we will see you on the next one. And hold on, before we go, remember, the next one is going to be live, 7:45 p.m., draft night, baby. We're getting after it, and we're going to have a little special something for you. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next one.